What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and today we finally are opening Structure Deck Freezing Chains. So this is the new Ice Barrier Structure Deck, and that is pretty crazy to say out loud because I don't know about you guys, but I still, even though I have like one of these right here in front of me, I still cannot believe that this is a real product. Maybe it's because I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for such a long time, but I remember when Ice Barriers were just like a deck everyone made fun of. Obviously they had their great synchro monsters, but I never in a million years would have guessed that they would get a structure deck in the future. And yet here we are, and we have the new structure deck right here. And I think this deck is a lot better than people are giving it credit for. I've been talking with Sam actually over the past couple of days about these cards, and he knows some pretty crazy combos. I saw him post some videos about it. But anyway, structure deck Freezing Chains, the Ice Barrier structure deck. Don't worry about that side. We don't need to check out what's in here. We'll just open it for you guys. And this has taken a while to actually make a video about. Basically, so this was sent to me by Konami. Thank you so much for that. And it got stuck in transit. It was kind of a loss for a couple days. And then I tried to go to my locals to buy it. The locals, they didn't have their delivery. And I went to another locals. They didn't have it either. And then I went to Meyer and they didn't have it yet. So it has just been a pain trying to get a hold of this, but I'm happy to finally have it now. While they are down to like nothing in here besides the cards. So we have the cards right here, little plastic thing, and then we have the game mat, which probably has the dragons on there. Yeah, we have Brionic, we got the new Trishula, we got Gungnir, all those great synchros. And on the back here, you can see it has some of the combos that you can do. It has the deck list right there, got some interactions, and we got some cards that, some little advertisements here that you should try to play in your deck. Yeah, I guess you can combine it with the Egyptian God Slime from a Legendary Duelist Rage of Ra. Not sure if I would combine those, but hey, and whatever works, I guess. Alright, so here we go, and this structure deck, like a lot of the more recent ones over the past couple of years, has a ton of new cards, and a lot of them are holographic cards, which is pretty cool. Structure deck Freezing Chains, here's like the how you scan to get the beginner's guide, which I think they used to include in here, but maybe not. In Blazing Vortex, we have Legacy of the Duelist, Link Evolution, little advertisement, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. That one's always fun as well. Lots of QR codes, but anyway, let's take a look at what comes in here. So we have Revealer of the Ice Barrier. This is one of the more important new cards. This card is pretty cool actually, so it lets you special summon a tuner from your deck by discarding a card, which is always nice. I mean, that's obviously what you want to be doing with Ice Barriers, but also while in the graveyard, you can use this card if you would discard or send a card from your hand to the graveyard for an Ice Barrier effect. And that is pretty nice because a lot of the better Ice Barrier effects do require you to send cards or discards from your hand to the graveyard. So that's a new ultra rare. We have Speaker for the Ice Barriers, another good card that is new in this structure deck. So this one can special summon itself for free, and also you can banish it from the graveyard to give yourself a token, which is pretty cool. Then we have what was this, Zujin of the Ice Barrier, a new level 2 warrior monster. It's alright. You can special summon a level 5 or higher Ice Barrier from your hand, which is pretty good. And while in the graveyard, you can target one level 3 or higher water monster you control, reduce its level by exactly 2, and if you do, special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. Not a tuner monster, which is a downside, but I suppose you already have a lot of tuners, so who really cares. And then we have Winds over the Ice Barrier. This card is kind of like an E-Telly because you do get to special summon Ice Barriers from your deck, and that certainly is pretty good. You do have to tribute Ice Barriers on your board, but I think that's okay in a lot of situations. Then we have the new Trishula, Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier. Incredible card. Banishes up to 3 cards your opponent controls on summon, non-targeting. That's just so good. And also it floats into the other Trishula as well. And then we have DeLorean. Oh, that's actually a super interesting. Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. That's an old card. Brionic, a super rare as well. These cards look pretty nice and they're just more clean rarities. Gungnir, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, and Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. So honestly, pretty good. I mean, these all 4 of these cards have seen competitive play, and I think the new Zero Dragon of the Ice Barrier is a good retrain of Trishula. So I think the holographic choices here are really nice. It's very similar to the Shadal structure deck, where you not only got the new Shadal cards that were really cool, but also you got holographic reprints of some of the more notable Shadal cards that had already been released. Next up, we have General Wayne of the Ice Barrier, another new card here, only a common this time. This is kind of cool. It is a card that's like a one-sided macrocosmos for your opponent's spells and traps, which could be pretty good in certain matchups. Also, this card searches an Ice Barrier spell or trap card when you normal or special summon summon it, which makes it a pretty good addition to any modern Ice Barrier deck. We have Hexa Spirit of the Ice Barrier. I really wish this one was a holographic card. It is a pretty cool new tuner monster for the deck. Then we have some of the older Ice Barriers here. A nice Prior of the Ice Barrier, good older Ice Barrier card. Defender of the Ice Barrier, Warlock of the Ice Barrier, Spellbreaker of the Ice Barrier. This is actually one of the most important of the older Ice Barrier cards. It says once per turn you can send one Ice Barrier monster from your hand to the graveyard to draw one card. That is very good at loading up your graveyard, but also you can use it with the new card, the Revealer of the Ice Barrier. You can just banish this on the graveyard instead of discarding a card, which makes this card just a free +1, which is obviously very good. And we have Dance Princess, of course. Some of the higher leveled Ice Barriers. This card used to be talked about as a tech. We have General Gantala. This used to be one of the better Ice Barriers. It's probably one of the good ones still, but it is a kind of slow effect. It only revives during your end phase, but it could be played. You have another General there. Lots of cards. And we have some non-Ice Barrier cards, some reprints. So we have Gen X Controller and presumably, yep, Gen X Undyne. We have Aqua Spirit. Oh man, I remember this card was like $10 for a common back when Mermails were playing it a while ago. We have Dupe Frog and Rodent Totem. No Swap Frog here, which is kind of weird, but I guess you just have those two frogs. Fishborg Launcher, no Fishborg Blaster, of course, that card's banned. Moulin Glacia, the Elemental Lord. Is this the first common printing of this card? I don't actually know. That's pretty crazy looking. Silent Angler for our monsters there. We have Freezing Chains of the Ice Barrier, a new continuous spell card. This card's cool. It's like a Monster Reborn, which is always nice. And this card's pretty cool because, yeah, you can search it with that General Wayne, because General Wayne can search spells and traps when you normal summon or special summon it. So you can just play like however many copies of these Ice Barrier spells and traps that you want, and you can always have access to them with the General Wayne. We also have Magic Triangle of the Ice Barrier, Medallion of the Ice Barrier, older card there, a Rhoda for the archetype, Mirror of the Ice Barrier, really good side deck card a couple years back. Salvage, of course, a lot of water monsters. Surface, makes sense. Where Art Thou? Are there a lot of level 1s in this deck? I guess so. I don't really know. A Pointer of the Red Lotus, very good reprint. This card only has 2 printings right now. It has an older common printing that was expensive. It just got a super rare OTS printing in the last OTS pack, not 15, it was in 14, which was pretty nice. But yeah, now we have another reprint, and pretty cool there. Obviously, I've used this card a lot in tournaments. Fiendish Chain, a couple other trap cards. Mind Drain's kind of random. Heavy Storm Duster, pretty cool card. Crackdown, that's cool. Is that the first common reprint of this, or was it a common in the Megatons? No, in the Megatons it was prismatic. So that's kind of crazy. It's always weird seeing like the first non-holographic printing for cards that you've only seen in holographic printings. And then we have Terror of Trishula. Pretty crazy artwork there with the new Trishula in the back, I believe. Apply these effects in sequence depending on the number of Ice Barrier Synchro monsters you control with different names. If you control 1 or more, you can banish 1 card your opponent controls, 2 or more, banish 1 card from your opponent's graveyard, and 3 or more, banish 1 random card from your opponent's hand. What I like about this card, though, is that even if you only have 1 Ice Barrier Synchro, it's pretty good. Banishing 1 card without targeting is a very good effect, so I do think this card is a lot better than people might think it is. And obviously it's not searchable, unfortunately, because it does not say Ice Barrier in the name, so you can't grab it with the General Wayne, but still a pretty good card. Anyway, that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the new Ice Barrier structure deck, Freezing Chains. Thank you to Konami for sending me the structure deck. Obviously I was having a hard time actually getting this from my locals, so I'm very grateful that they sent one my way. I'll see you later. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.